My husband's ex-GF is dying. Her last wish is to be with my husband. The subject at hand involves my husband, who I'll refer to as Seb, and his former girlfriend, Tanya, who is now 33 years old. Tanya has recently been given a devastating diagnosis of advanced breast cancer. Amidst this difficult time, she has expressed a heartfelt desire to spend her remaining time with Seb, who is now 35. It's important to note that after ending their romantic relationship of 5 years due to Tanya's unfaithfulness, Seb and Tanya transitioned into being best friends. This friendship has persisted over the years, even predating the time Seb and I met and got married. Admittedly, their ongoing communication has always been a source of discomfort for me, especially considering Tanya's unabashed admission that she still harbors feelings for Seb. Her attempts to reach out to me whenever she's unable to contact Seb directly only add to the complexity of the situation. Beyond her battle with cancer, Tanya also faces mental health challenges, prompting Seb to ask for my understanding and patience in dealing with her. Seb has made it clear that his romantic feelings for Tanya are in the past. Her betrayal marked a definitive end to their relationship in that regard, and he now views her more like a family member than a romantic interest. The gravity of Tanya's situation became fully apparent 2 weeks ago when she called Seb to share the news of her diagnosis. The emotional weight of the conversation was immense, leading Seb to spend the entire day on the phone with her, offering support and comfort. This situation is further complicated by the fact that Seb and I have recently relocated to Australia for my job, while Tanya remains in Canada. Seb and Tanya keep in touch mostly through long-distance calls or WhatsApp messages, and they've been talking almost every day since we moved. This has always made me uncomfortable, but I felt powerless to change it. After Seb received the call about Tanya's diagnosis, he shared everything with me. Honestly, my heart went out to her, and I couldn't help but feel sad for her situation. I asked Seb what his plans were, and he dropped a bombshell. He's planning to go back to Canada. He explained that Tanya's final wish is to spend her remaining time with him. I was stunned and could only manage to ask, "What about me?" Seb's response was that if I couldn't leave my job, he would try to visit me when possible. I was so upset that I walked away without another word. Since that conversation, I've been avoiding Seb and ignoring his attempts to discuss the matter further. Just yesterday, I discovered he's already bought a ticket to fly back to Canada in January. I'm torn between feeling abandoned by him and feeling guilty for resenting them both. The thought of divorce has crossed my mind because it feels like he's choosing her over me. Yet when I think about why Seb is so devoted to Tanya, I remember that he sees her and her family as his own since he doesn't have one. To him, she might be like a sister now. However, Tanya's feelings are not the same. She's deeply in love with Seb, and his decision to fulfill her wish might give her false hope. All my life, I've prioritized others above myself. I've been patient and understanding about their unusual relationship, but now I'm feeling overwhelmed and confused. Part of me wants to confront Tanya, to express my anger for the turmoil she's causing in my marriage, for attempting to lure my husband away from me, and for leveraging her illness to get what she wants. I'm furious with both of them. Why am I facing this? What did I do to deserve such a situation? Comments before an interesting update. Commenter, first, her request is manipulative, inappropriate, and unreasonable. Second, info needed. By be with her, what does that mean? Like, just be there to hold her hand, or to be sexual, or what? Third, I would straight up tell your husband that if he chooses her, that your marriage is likely over, especially if her request includes sexual interaction. Another commenter, this was my thought also. Even if it's to just be with her, she's gonna try to bang that husband. Please, just once more, I'm dying. Next commenter, is he working? How will he pay for the visits? How kind of him to say he will visit his wife when he gets a chance. Another commenter, also, he's not just giving up on his wife, he's giving up on his life in Australia and his work there. I definitely think he's going back to be with Tanya. Next commenter, is she even terminal? She has mental health issues. Did she just create this cancer out of desperation? As far as your marriage goes, it doesn't even matter. Your husband Seb has made his decision and OP is definitely not at the top. She was a placeholder while Seb's sensitive feelings were healing from old GF cheating. OP, it's time for divorce unless you can accept what you know. Seb needs to get his priorities in order, and sadly for OP, he seems to have shown his hand. A year from now, we will be reading about the Great Canadian Miracle. Another commenter, she might not be dying. Stage 4 does not mean a short life expectancy. Next commenter, oncology nurse here, can confirm, can be several years before she would succumb to the disease. As a side note, in high school, my BF's ex told him that she had cancer. He went back to her. She was at the 10-year reunion. Never had cancer. My answer, I didn't think my post would get so much attention. Honestly, I just needed to vent so I could try to focus on work and other aspects of my life. Being in a new country with only my husband for support has been really tough, especially with everything going on. Some people have suggested that Tanya might not be truthful about her illness, but unfortunately, she is genuinely sick. She was diagnosed a few years back and has been undergoing treatment since then. It's only recently that she found out her condition has worsened, and now she's decided to stop treatment. I might not have explained this well before. My husband told me she's ready to give up. She's actually wanted to for a while, but her family, including my husband, encouraged her to keep fighting. Now she's asked Seb to go back to Canada to support her, and he's agreed. Seb did offer for me to come back to Canada with him, but my job here in Australia is everything I've ever wanted. I can't just leave it behind, especially not for her. I'm starting to think that divorce might be the right choice. It's clear my husband can't let go of her, and we can't really build a future together if he's always looking back. I love him so much that I've put up with this situation for years. The thought of divorce feels like a part of me is dying, and I'm not sure if I'll ever be ready to let him go. I haven't talked to my husband about this yet, but I think he senses what's coming. I'm sorry I haven't updated everyone sooner. As many of you guessed, communication isn't my strong suit, which is part of why things have gotten to this point. I admit I've played a role in letting things get this bad between us. I've already reached out to a lawyer to see what my next steps are. Thanks to everyone for your comments and messages. They've really helped me feel a bit better. It feels awful to think about denying a dying person's wish or being angry at someone who's in such a vulnerable state. But you're right. I need to start thinking about myself, too. Update, 15 months later. Seb did end up flying back to Canada January last year. Before he flew, we talked about the situation, and I told him I've been in contact with a divorce lawyer. He was surprised. He said he didn't expect me to leave him just because he needs to be with his family. I remember at the time, all I felt was anger. I was so mad that he's making it sound like I'm the bad person. Nevertheless, the conversation didn't end well. He left without any closure, but he said he will be back in March. I was left alone. January to March last year was the darkest days of my life. I knew I did nothing wrong, but I ended up blaming myself for everything. I hate to admit, but I canceled the meeting with my lawyer as I started to doubt if I really want to leave him or not. I love him so much to the point that I'm willing to accept him again when he's back. During the entire time he was gone, he rarely called to check on me. I had to call him most of the time. I know I'm dumb. I feel so alone and sad. I begged for his attention, to give me some of his time, to be with me again. All those time he kept telling me that Tanya needs him more. March, I was expecting him to come back so we can talk, but he didn't come back. He said he needs to stay more and promised me he will be back in May. I don't know what happened to me when I got that call from him early March to tell me he won't be flying back to Australia. At the time, I felt like there's a switch that suddenly turned off because somehow I stopped caring. When he told me he won't be back until May, I knew I have to move forward without him. Fast forward to May, he was back. That day, we sat down to talk. He broke down and said, "I can't lose you too." When he said that, I thought Tanya was gone. But no, she's not, and as far as I know, she's still alive to this day. I asked what happened, and he told me that Tanya asked him to go back and be with me. He said that Tanya is sorry for everything. Seb didn't want to leave her, especially when he saw how bad she was doing. They had a fight, and according to him, Tanya wants him out of her life. If I was the same dumb person, I would totally accept him back, but at that time, all I can think was, he's only back because Tanya doesn't want him anymore. I let him cry. I comforted him and let him stay in my apartment. A week after, I told him I'm divorcing him. At first, he refused to leave. It was a long and painful process, but on my birthday in July, he finally realized that he couldn't manipulate me anymore. By August, he was back in Canada. Divorce is not finalized yet, but we have been separated since he left. He tried to contact me several times last year. Tanya also tried to contact me. Everyone, including my family, tried to convince me to give him second chance. But that day in March, when I finally came back to my senses, I knew nothing can make me change my mind. As of now, I'm doing fine alone by myself. I got promoted last year and moved to a bigger apartment near the beach. I found new friends and recently getting into Pilates. I've traveled Australia and New Zealand and met some amazing people. I feel like a completely different person. Last year was the major turning point of my life. Seb still bothers me from time to time, but he knows I couldn't care less anymore. Sometimes I talk to him. I still care, but not as much. I've been told by our common friends that he's not doing well. He became alcoholic and couldn't get a good job because of it. He's mostly couch surfing because Tanya doesn't want him to live with her. Lowell, that bitch. For those people who are in the same situation as me, please know that everything is going to be better. I thought I can't get through this. There are times I thought of taking my own life. It was hard, but I promise you it will be better. You'd be surprised how strong you are and how amazing life can be. Comments. Commenter. What a wild read. I'm sorry that it took Tanya rejecting your ex to realize that he's losing you too. I remember reading your story and getting so mad for you. You deserve someone who prioritizes you and doesn't leave you hanging for months. I'm glad you're doing okay now. You are so strong. From a sincere Reddit stranger, I'm proud of you and how well you handled the situation. I'm wishing the best for you, OP. Congrats on the new life. Another commenter. I remember you. Thanks for the update. The absolute audacity of only coming back and begging you to stay because Tanya didn't want him. Keep thriving. Next commenter. Exactly. The fact that he said, I can't lose you too, felt so yucky to me. I'm so glad OP is healing. She deserves so much better. How do you like this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.